Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back discussing an alternate cut of Beetlejuice. Alternate Cuts is the series in which Jason from Horrific Nightmares and I watch and discuss alternate versions of various movies. For this first alternate cut of the year, we decided to go with one of my all-time favorite films, Beetlejuice. This early Workprint version has never been officially released. There are alternate shots, there is alternate dialogue, and there are alternate takes in this alternate cut. There are even extra scenes in this Beetlejuice Workprint. And despite missing some footage here and there from the theatrical cut, this Workprint runs approximately 2 minutes longer. That's because the extra included scenes easily outnumber those that were deleted. I should also mention this Workprint is in black and white, with a running timestamp on the bottom of the screen. But that's to be expected. After all, it's a Workprint. Now, per usual with these alternate cuts videos, I won't describe every single difference in detail. There are lots of changes in this Workprint. Sometimes, as I said, it's an alternate shot, or alternate dialogue, or an alternate take of a scene. Music cues are different at times, and sound effects vary as well. For the most part, though, this Workprint is a complete version of the film. What I will discuss are the extra scenes included in this cut. Maybe not all of them, but at least the major additions. We get some additional scenes with Jane, the realtor. One is early on in the movie, and the other is during the alternate ending. A major change in this Workprint is when Adam first attempts to leave the house after not surviving the accident. In the theatrical version of Beetlejuice, this is the first time we see the sandworms, when Adam is nearly attacked. In this Workprint, however, he exits the house and finds himself in this strange world of rolling cogs. Instead of almost being eaten by a sandworm, he is almost run over by a giant cog or wheel. At one point, he is nearly crushed in between two of them. There is additional footage of Lydia attempting to open the attic door with the skeleton key. After Adam knocks the key out of the lock, Charles Dietz appears behind Lydia, and the two have a conversation on the attic steps. While Lydia is distracted by her dad, Adam opens the door and grabs the key, shutting the door behind him. It's funny, because in the moments following this scene, both in the Workprint obviously, as well as the theatrical cut, you can see Adam place the skeleton key on the table where the model of the town is. The thing is, though, he never retrieves the key in the theatrical cut. So it's funny that they left that in that version as well. Next time you watch Beetlejuice, pay attention. You'll see him place the skeleton key on the table. And now you'll know it's because of this deleted scene that's still in the Workprint. After Lydia takes photos of the Maitlands in the sheets, there is an extra scene of her developing photos in the dark room. The dark room is mentioned in the theatrical version as well, but it's never seen. This is also where the larger photos we see in the theatrical version were developed. Lydia then attempts to show Charles the photos in his office before he basically kicks her out. He asks her to take some photos around town for him, since he thinks she's bored. In between the dark room scene and this conversation between Lydia and Charles, there's a scene of Lydia and Delia talking about the holes cut in the sheets. Delia blames Lydia for it, and that's when Lydia retreats to the office. Remember when the Maitlands are hanging outside the attic window? Well, in this work print, they're almost eaten by a sandworm. That short sequence was deleted by the time the theatrical version was released. And the last change I want to talk about is the alternate ending. As Lydia is riding her bike home from school, she runs into Jane. We then witness Jane go into her house and call the Dietzes. Charles and Delia are shown to be living back in New York in a nice high-rise apartment. They tell Jane over the phone they have no plans to sell the Winter River house ever. That's because Lydia is still living there with the Maitlands' ghosts. She arrives home and talks about her grades with the Maitlands, just like in the theatrical version. Adam agrees to possess her so she can sing her song and do her dance while levitating, just like in the theatrical cut. Of course, we don't see Charles and Delia at this point because we already know they're back in New York. And we don't see Beetlejuice in the waiting room either. The last time we see his character is when the sandworm eats him. He does not have his head shrunk in this work print. As the camera zooms out from Lydia singing and dancing in the air, we see that this was all taking place inside the model house. It zooms out some more and Adam is working on the model. So it's as if Lydia and the Maitlands are living inside the model version of the Winter River house. It's pretty cool, especially when you realize this work print ending is basically a hybrid of the original intended ending and what we got in the theatrical version. Originally, in what was a much darker ending, hence why the studio refused to use it, Lydia was meant to commit suicide so that she could end up with the Maitlands. It would then end with all three of them in the model house. Obviously, in this work print, she still ends up with the Maitlands in the model house. But she didn't have to die. It sort of doesn't make sense for her to somehow be in the model house, but I like it. This work print ending was more of an homage to what was supposed to be. Watching this work print, it was easy for me to identify all of the changes because I know Beetlejuice by heart. I mean, even the slightest alteration to dialogue was obvious to me. But the real attraction to this version are those extra scenes. If it were up to me, I'd honestly reinsert all of them. The dark room scene is cool. The extra conversations between Lydia and her dad. Even the extra moments with Jane. I love the pan out of the camera at the end, showing us that Lydia and the Maitlands are somehow inside the model house, even though Adam is also outside of it, working on the model table. The sandworm attempting to eat Adam and Barbara while they hang outside the attic window is awesome. But my personal favorite change of all in this work print is the cog sequence. Adam temporarily in that world, surrounded by those giant wheels, is unique. Don't get me wrong, the sandworms are iconic, but we still get those too. It would have been cool to have the cogs at the beginning and the sandworms later, just like in this work print. It's the best of both worlds, which pretty much sums up what Jason and I love about this alternate cuts series. Because, as I always say, the great thing about both versions existing is the fact that we have alternate cuts. Please be sure to check out Jason's video as well to hear his thoughts on the Beetlejuice work print. What are your thoughts on this alternate cut? Comment below and let me know. Which alternate cut of which movie will we discuss next? Check back soon to find out. Until then, remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.